Thank you for joining us on Innovation Insights webinar series, where we bring thought leaders and subject matter experts to the spotlight for sharing their knowledge gained through their innovation journeys. Today's topic is product design and gamification. We will have a 40-minute session followed by Q&A. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the chat box. We will bring them up in the end. Now, let me invite our Chief Innovation Coach, Naveen Lakur, to introduce the speaker of our session.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. Hi, Karunya. Thanks for the invite, and it's my pleasure to introduce Suvrajit Sarkar. The name itself sounds like as if there is a thriller movie going to happen, and there is a hero, a super cop, and it's a game. Can you imagine that? And Suvrajit Sarkar is just like that, right? Interesting person, comes with a personality of a product design leader and a thought leader, and is a subject matter expert in gamifying these concepts, not just as a games, but even including those on the enterprise systems. In fact, as a person who is associated as a product manager for Digital Harbor, a US company, where he is involved in concept to reality and making at the enterprise level, right? So that's very interesting. And he's been an entrepreneur, built companies, especially gaming companies. It's rare to find somebody who has both sides, right? It's like two sides of the same coin coming together is an interesting quality. One side, as a product design, you need a lot of logic and intelligence. The other side is gamification, which is about emotions. And here is a packet which has got both these qualities together of intelligence and emotion, presenting and bringing to the spotlight Suvrajit Sarkar, who is a package of both these intelligence and emotion. And today, he is here as a subject matter expert and a thought leader to present to us on some insights. I'm sure there are going to be his stories and experiences that he's had, and some knowledge sharing that he would do is going to be inspiring us. I'm sure that we will take away several insights out of it. With that, let me call upon Suvrajit Sarkar onto the spotlight. Over to you, Suvrajit, and look forward to having an interaction during the Q&A. So I'm sure it's going to be beneficial for all of them. And all the participants, feel free to type in your questions during the presentation, and we will bring it up towards the end, having an interaction with Suvrajit. Over to you, and you can share your screen. And we are looking forward for this session.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much, Naveen sir, for the lovely introduction. I think it was really elaborate, and I'm really, I'm really happy to be introduced that way. And I am really hoping that I can actually make the participants enjoy this session and also take away key nuggets of gamification. So with that, I would start with a very short video from this is a video of one of the products that I admire the most, and I am really passionate about. Although I can't have it at this point because it's not available in India. But I'm sure, after seeing this video, all of us would actually get some kind of emotional spike to possess this product. So with no further delays, I will just play this video so all of us can actually sit back and relax for a while. All right. So that was one of my favorite products, and as one can imagine, the level to which the product is currently gamified, right, is really amazing. So what is the thing that really matters? So that doesn't really end there. This is one of the, this is not a wallpaper actually, like this is something that you are seeing through the the cabin space of a Tesla vehicle. And the full screen touch screen that you see here is a 17-inch touch screen, and it really turns into a fireplace. So that doesn't end there. The AC blowers actually, once you turn this, turn this Tesla into the the furnace or the heat mode, this turns into a fireplace, and the winds, warm winds, blow out of the AC vents, and even to the extent that the seats are heated, and they actually make you feel that you're actually sitting on a heated fireplace. So as you can imagine, US, in the cold weather, in the Christmas weather, when one goes through the highways at top speed, they would literally not only enjoy driving this car, but also would be actually emotionally charged up with the fireplace and the music system. And did I miss out on the music system? Of course, like with this beautiful fireplace that is displayed on the the front panel, you also have the music and the ambient, the sounds and the surrounding systems that actually come in tandem. That makes the entire experience really memorable for everyone sitting in this car for the first time. I'm sure, like all of us can actually at least have a sense of what it could mean to be sitting in this car and just enjoying this ride. So why am I talking about it? While the emotional part is one side of things, let's look at some of the numbers out here. What really the gamification does to a product is right here. In the third quarter of 2019, Tesla's Model 3 actually outsold all the BMW series together, all the Mercedes series together, all the Lexus series together, and the Audi series together. It was greater than at least 40% of the sales of each of these premium categories series combined together. So that tells us what kind of Tesla is not just an electric car, but it's a package of emotional drives built into the car. It's a product where emotions play a lot of big role in trying to make this product a success, right? So let's look at how the human mind works a little bit before actually trying to understand how this actually translated into the sales number. So if you have to divide the human mind, it would be the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. And just like the iceberg, The conscious mind is just the tip of the top portion, and there is a lot. There's more than 70% of it in the subconscious mind. Why I say that? Because the day-to-day habits that we are totally programmed to. So for example, like the time we wake up, the daily routines that we follow, everything is there in our subconscious mind, and everything is more or less like a pre-programmed thing that keeps on happening. We don't think before we start brushing our teeth, right? We just do it just like that. So about 50 to 90% of what we do every day is based on what is stored in our subconscious mind. Now the funny part is that while we have easy access to our conscious mind, our subconscious mind is something that we don't have any access to directly, right? So that leaves us with the challenge that how do we even access the subconscious mind at all, right? So thankfully there is something called emotions, which actually, when wrapped in together with the information that we are receiving in your conscious mind, makes a deep impact in our subconscious mind. So what really emotions do is that like once we are experiencing something emotional, some kind of real life event that is actually that we are in the conscious world, and that is kind of mixed with the emotion. So it can be either positive emotion which gives us happiness, or negative emotions which makes us averse to things. Like for example, we don't want to be in debt, so we actually move out of it. We are scared of debt, but then debt is a reality, right? But then that motivates us to move away from it, right? So in either of these two cases, emotions play a vital role, right? So now, why am I talking so much about emotions? Because it's the emotions that build gamification. Now, what really is gamification? Gamification per se has nothing to do with the games that we have around. It's the core mechanics of the games that drive users from point A to point B in that game, right? So it's basically the different elements of gamification, the core drives of emotions that help users to do certain things in the game, to gain some pleasure, to avert some pain in the game. So for example, we have so for some of us who play Candy Crush, we would realize that we have milestones in Candy Crush, which takes us from one point to another, and which helps us to like get a feeling of progression in the game. Similarly, there are several mechanics which actually cater to the core emotional drives that human beings have. So here is the high-level definition of gamification one could think of. It's a process of applying the core emotional drives of human behavior that motivates a user to complete a task efficiently and effectively through an interactive experience. Now, an interesting thing to see here is there is nowhere we are talking about games here. We are only talking about the emotional components that drive everything and anything in a game, or any other good product for that matter, right? So how do we actually tap into this potential, huge potential of the human mind, and build some product around it which can actually be very user friendly and be able to engage the users to that extent, right? So all of us while we are trying to build products and services, we would definitely want to have products and services built which the users would love to use, right? Which the users would love to engage more with. So let's look at some of the techniques that we can use to how can we break down these emotional patterns to different ways. So let's look at the core drives of emotions. So if you look at this chart, it kind of represents the human brain in a graphical way. We all have two different parts of the brain, right? The left brain and the right brain. So left brain is more logical thinking, and it talks about numbers and analytical thinking, and the right brain is more towards it's more like abstract. It's more towards things that are not like very visible to us, but they are more emotional driven. So some of the things that left brain and right brain combines together and understands is some of the elements like meaning and empowerment and social influence. On the other side, we have accomplishments, ownership, scarcity, avoidance, unpredictability. And also, if you notice, like the top part talks about only the positive emotions, which we call the white hat techniques. On the bottom, we have the black hat techniques, which are more, the things that we actually tend to go against or go away from. Like, for example, scarcities and then avoidance and unpredictability, right? Let's look at these individual core drives into a little deeper level. So the first core drive, which is epic meaning and calling, what does that really mean? Is that it's the need of someone to be a part of something much bigger than just oneself. So what that really means is that, like, when we are trying to do something and we realize that, we are trying to do good to the better, to the bigger, society, rather than just our own needs. That is when we feel more motivated. That's where the philanthropist also, feel good about, doing philanthropy, right? So inevitably, like, if you look at the top business person, today, and all the other people who have really succeeded in their life, they have inevitably been philanthropists through a large portion of their life. Why they do that? Because they always feel the calling, that, the epic meaning and calling, which is greater than their own surroundings, their own companies, or their own circumstances. And basically doing better, they're doing good to the larger society, right? So one example of a product that we all use is Wikipedia. Like, this brings us to the question that why would someone spend hours updating Wikipedia at a site that doesn't even pay, or even, like, help us build our resumes, right? So there are people who spend updating Elon Musk pages, or Tesla's pages, or the pages from Apple's product release and everything in the Wikipedia.
Sorry to interrupt you, Suvrajit. Are you sharing your screen?
Um,
Because we are not able to see your screen.
is it? Let me know when it's visible.
It's showing presenting. Just a second. Yes, we are able to see
Okay.
the presentation. Thank you.
Yeah. So,
Sir, you're on mute, sir. Not able to hear you.
hello. Let me know when I'm audible, please.
Yes, you are audible.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I think we missed quite a few slides. So I'll just go back to this slide, which talks about the core drives of emotions and how the left brain and right brain works. And I'll quickly run through the left brain, which is more of analytical and logical thinking, and the right brain, which talks about more of the the abstract thinking and the creative part of it. And the top part talks about the white hat, and the bottom part talks about the black hat. The white hat is more about the positive emotions that drive human being into doing things like meaning, accomplishments, and empowerment. And the black hat is more like unpredictability, avoidance, scarcities, which moves us away from things that are there. So we were discussing about the epic meaning and calling, right? This is one of the core drives of human being, which makes us do things, which is larger than ourselves. For example, a philanthropist, right? Why would someone be donating like $25 billion of his life's earning, right, just to a philanthropic cause? Is it? Is it not worthwhile to reinvest the same amount of money back into the company? But there must be something greater than oneself to be able to to achieve something, to get something out of such a big kind of contribution towards society. So that's something which is epic meaning and calling. All of us want to do something which is greater than ourselves, and which is a part of epic meaning and calling. right? So one of the examples, one of the very like examples that all of us use is Wikipedia, wiki pages, right? And there's wiki pages. Why would someone actually go and update the wiki pages again? Is basically the feeling of being associated with something which is greater than themselves. For example, a user going and updating a wiki page which talks about Tesla, and one is not even owning Tesla, but is so passionate about the entire topic or the subject about it that they feel responsible to go and update it, right? So that's what is epic meaning and calling that drives users to do certain things in certain ways. Similarly, Apple. Why are people so loyal to the Apple products? To the extent that they know even they actually would want to get an Apple product even before they are launched in the market, right? We have all heard of stories where people queue up in front of the Apple stores in California even before the stores open to get to purchase their Apple products as soon as they're launched, right? So why is that? Because they feel that they are associated with something that is greater than themselves. Because Apple talks about breaking the status quo. So it's for the ones who actually want to break out of that, round pegs and square holes are the ones who actually associate with this product so much, and that's why they love the product also. Second drive, it's development and accomplishment. It's about the internal drive to make progress, developing skills, and eventually overcoming challenges. So one of the examples are, again, I'll go back to US examples where, we have football and we have rugby, but US inevitably prefers rugby, and they are fully engaged with the rugby game because, the sense of progression in rugby game is much more than that is there in the football game, where in rugby every 10 yards that you cover actually gives you some points. Anyone from any of the team crosses 10 yards gets some points to the team, right? So at the end of the day, there is no match which comes out with a leveled score. It will always be always have a parity. I mean, a difference between the scores from both the sides, right? But whereas in football, at the end of 90 minutes, you might as well realize that none of the teams have actually opened the scorecards at all, and in the best cases, you might have some kind of results towards the end, which is not necessarily a good or a bad thing, but then it's the way that human mind works is that like 90 minutes of their investment time and they did not get any sense of progress or result, right? That's something which actually makes uh, people prefer rugby more than football, at least in the US context. So a very popular example is the LinkedIn progress in the profile, which is implemented in a way that we always feel a progress when we actually complete our profile, right? In as we progress, updating our work experience, our adding more contacts and adding more documents and sharing articles and things like that. It keeps on showing the progress bar, which is increasing, always increasing, right? So that is something which actually is gamification of a very serious thing, which is because LinkedIn obviously is a very serious job portal, right? Why would they want to implement something which is not very serious? But gamification, as we have just realized, that it's not something to do with seriousness or fun stuff. It's a blend of emotional drives that make user do certain things, in the product itself. So that's an implementation of gamification in LinkedIn as well. One of my favorite examples is IKEA in terms of empowerment and creativity, right? We all, as human beings, we all love to be empowered with certain kind of powers, greater than what we currently have, and we all want to be creative, right? And creativity is not something that is gifted to us and that doesn't change. Creativity is something that can be acquired and that can be nurtured, throughout the journey of life. Because of course, like the paintings that we do in our childhood evolves to the extent that it becomes even more beautiful when we grow up and learn more about it and become more creative about it. And feedback is an important mechanics to actually drive creativity. So here I have an example of IKEA where it lets the end users build their own furnitures. So why would someone want to build their own furniture? It appears that, like when we actually get to do something of our own and call it out saying that I have built such and such furniture in my house, which also looks beautiful. Of course, IKEA provides the entire framework for someone to actually build the furniture. So definitely, there's no scope that the furniture will not look good or not as good quality that they as a product as such. But at the same time, they give users the flexibility to like assemble them together, which gives them the sense of like having being creative themselves and being empowered to build their own furnitures, which itself is a very strong drive for the user. One more example is like it is quite a dated example though, but I think it's even now it's very relevant in terms of the at least the philosophies. In 1990s, there was a company called Bakery, and they introduced a the cake mixture, which one would have just to pour some water and the cake was ready. They just had to put some water on the cake mixture and put it in the oven, and the cake would be ready on the other side within certain period of time, right? But then they realized that the sales did not pick up because such an innovative product when launched in the market and the sales not picking up is really going to get become a cause of concern to the people around in the company, right? So they eventually hired certain set of market researchers who found out that since the housewives or whoever is actually trying to make the cake is not getting the sense of accomplishment after having baked that cake, because it's so straightforward. You just have to put the cake mix and put some boiling water and put it in the oven and the cake is done, right? There's no sense of accomplishment in that because it's too straightforward. So what they did is that they took eggs components out of the mixture, and they said in their promotional messages that you can pour in as many eggs to your choice, right? What that did is that like that opened a new avenue of creativity for the ones who are actually trying to bake their cake, bake the cake at home. At the same time, it was not a very difficult process, not a very time consuming process. One could easily make cakes at home. At the same time, they could add their bit of creativity in terms of adding the number of cakes into adding the number of eggs into the cake, which makes it really accomplishing for the for the bakers at home. So that actually showed that actually pushed the sales really high, and that became one of the most successful cake companies in the world. So ownership and position. So for just let's take an example of the cars or the bikes or the things that we possess. We tend to care for them. We tend to wash them. We tend to clean them. Even our home appliances, utensils, or like furnitures or anything that we have at our home, we tend to care about them, and we tend to like really feel good about collecting. So for the book lovers especially, we love like collecting a lot of books, so that our libraries look really good with a variety of books, and we curate our libraries to the extent that like we make sure that certain kinds of books are in one side and certain other kinds are in other side. The books are labeled in a way that it really looks good also to look at. In those ways that whatever we possess, or whatever we own, we take care of them and we are really passionate about them. That's something that drives every user also in the same way. So let's take an example of McDonald's. Why would McDonald's introduce like toy collections for the kids? And as kids of like 6 years or 7 years or even 12 years kids, right, who would not love the burger so much, they would, even though they would not love the burger so much, they would still go to McDonald's to just to complete their collection of toys, right? So that's the sense of ownership and position that drives the user to do certain things, to engage more with the brands, to engage more with the products and services. Another drive is social influence and relatedness. I think by the term social influence itself, I think like all of us would immediately connect to the fact that how much of social influence drives users to do certain things in the game, in the products and services. Biggest examples are all on the cards. It's Facebook, LinkedIn, WhatsApp. All of them actually are are the drivers of social influence. Let's still dissect it in a way that to look at how they really operate. So it incorporates the social elements that drive people through mentorship, acceptance, social response, championship, and as well as the competition and envy. So you see that like each and every core drive is not an isolated core drive, but they are a mix of mix and match of different core drives. But then they are categorized in such a way that they can be easily related to what they really mean in a product or a service. So here we can see that mentorship, acceptance. So basically, like, why would you post some article, or why would you post some picture in the Facebook or in LinkedIn, right? We all want to get some acceptance from the users or our friends and family, or or a hidden kind of appreciation from our friends or family. Because I have come across several friends and family members who would be literally paranoid if they're not getting likes in the latest pictures that they have just posted in Facebook or LinkedIn. So that's a very strong drive. I would say it's one of the strongest drives in all the 8 drives that makes users to do certain things in the product. So I'm going to use a non-conventional example here, because we all know that how the other things work in the consumer side of things, or the the social media side of things. I'm going to take an example of O Power. O Power is a company which was actually launched in US, and which had to do more with the power supply, right? And they were very socially oriented, in the sense that they were very conscious of how consumers actually used electricity, because obviously, like, electricity is scarce everywhere. I mean, and the power generation is actually having a limited capacity. So O Power had the mandate that they wanted to ensure that people consumed, but not only consumed less power, but also were very conscious about the power consumption that they had, right? So what they did is that they introduced very interesting dashboards in the reports that were generated in the bills that were generated towards the end of the month. And these reports and dashboards motivated the users to actually conserve the energy in a way. If you see the example, it says that uh, efficient neighbors actually use this much of power, while all neighborhood on an average use this much of powers, but you are somewhere in the middle. So what that really does is that makes you feel that you are there up for the competition, but at the same time you still have to cover some miles to be able to become more efficient in the neighborhood in terms of power conservation. So that's some kind of social influence that can be used in a very non like it can be used in a very uncommon way altogether, right? So that gives the sense of social influence in a way that one can actually uh, include that in the product and services. Let's look at scarcity and impatience. It's a drive that keeps you wanting for something, that keeps you aware of something, like it makes you feel that you don't have enough of something, and that's why you want to go for it even more. Again, here I'm going to use a very non-conventional example. Google, it has a very flat interface and a very plain UI, right? It doesn't give you all the results right up front. When you type in something, you get certain results, and before that you don't even see the what are the other things that are available. That does two things. One thing is that doesn't clutter the user interface, and doesn't confuse the user as to what he or she really wants. But at the same time, that doesn't overwhelm the user with a lot of results also. So that gives a sense of impatience. The users want to to the results as quickly as possible. So that's how Google does it. Unpredictability and curiosity. So the main force behind infatuation with the experience that uncertain and in basically making us feel curious about certain things, right? And how that really works is that, like, many of us have realized that, friends and family around us, they would have actually been browsing the Facebook page without any aim, or just to kill some time. At the same time, they are not doing something which is beyond what they have been doing before 2 hours, right? They have just been refreshing the pages just to see that, like, what others are doing. Maybe they are not even getting any new updates for a certain period of time. They keep on doing that. What is the core drive that make users do that is basically unpredictability and curiosity. So if we are a little bit aware of the US culture, we have there's this concept of Easter eggs, where during Easter's, like, friends and family are given this egg sales, inside which you have, like, either toys or some surprise gifts and things like that. And people really look forward to that event because of the concept of, they might be getting something unpredictable, something, like, which is very curious to find out what really is there. Same with the Christmas gift. When we open the packets, we don't know what is inside, which makes us jump into the the all the packets that we have received and start opening them one by one, being really curious. These are some of the this is some of the one of the drives that really makes users do certain things in different kind of products. So basically, like, in games, as well, like, when you reach certain levels, you're always curious of the next level, what is going to happen, and a little bit of unpredictability as to makes the thing even more exciting. So this brings me to the last code, right, which talks about loss and avoidance. We all want to avoid losing something, right? So it motivates us through the fear of losing something or having something undesirable event. So big sale or some kind of time taker, which actually helps the user to actually actually motivates the user to run into the sales, right? So that's something that motivates the user to actually do something in that thing. For example, when you see some time taker in a nice Google ad, which says that, if you don't react right now, if you don't act right now and hit this buy now button, you're going to lose something. It doesn't even matter that if they don't even mention that what they are going to lose, right? But we still tend to click on that and trying to find out like what really is going on, and then perhaps even purchase it, right? That's the same thing that happens with Amazon.com also. The sale lasts for the 50% off lasts for the next 24 hours. So immediately we if we have already made a purchase decision or have decided that we are going to get this product within this period of time, or maybe this month I'm going to purchase a guitar or some kind of thing right away, it's going to make me take the next action right away if I see a 50% discount on my favorite guitar or my favorite piano or any kind of thing that I'm trying to purchase or I've already determined to purchase. The same thing happens with the sale, the Black Fridays and the Mondays and things like that, right? Where a huge amount of sales happen, which goes through the sky because the discount is large, and there's a time period also to it, so that people don't want to lose out on that opportunity. Doesn't matter, at the end of the day they realize they didn't even need that thing, but they just feel good about having purchased it at a great discount within the period of time, with the hope that others would have actually may not be would have missed out on that opportunity to some extent. So now let's look at quickly look at how Facebook has actually gamified the entire experience, although they don't explicitly call it out that they have gamified, but it definitely is gamified. So the way that empowerment and creativity works is that the ability for the users to share photos, messages, to express themselves. And then the social influence, of course, is on the cards. It's social treasure, and then like ability to share things and then get likes and comments. Refreshing contents, this talks about unpredictability and curiosity. Avoidance, one doesn't want to be out of the the social group, so one logs into the Facebook very frequently to ensure that um, he or she puts like and comments on others, and then keeps on engaging with the entire community, just to avoid missing out on the things that are going out there. And scarcity is something that like the for fail well concept and other character, basically, like one does not have enough content into it. That's why one goes in and tries to put in as much content as possible, so that like one feels that they are still up in the race. Ownership and position, people curate their comments and their posts and their share their memories and make sure that they look good in the Facebook pages and things like that. So that's one of the examples of ownerships and positions. And accomplishment is in terms of number of followers and number of tweets they receive, responses, and the unique informations that they receive on a day-to-day basis. That's something that drives users, making them feel accomplished and progress in the process. So with that, I would like to conclude my presentation, and I would like to open the floor for questions.
Hi, Suvrajit, can you hear me?
Yes, Arun. Yes, Arun.
Hey, great talk. I kind of had, I'd never heard it presented this way. Great job. I had a couple of questions maybe. So when you look at these 7, I believe it was 7 different core factors that you presented, is there a weighting in terms of which one? So let's say as a product designer, I could implement one of them, right? Which one would I pick, and how would you decide that?
Great. It really depends on the kind of product. Sorry, I'm just getting some feedback. Yeah, now I think it's still down. Right. So it really depends on the kind of product that we are trying to build. And for example, if we are building LinkedIn instead of Facebook, right? We will definitely not use the code drives like the competition so much of it, or we won't even build it at all, right? So development and accomplishment would be the key code drive. Empowerment and creativity would be another code drive, but we may not even like use any other code drive. It really depends on the product that we are trying to build to be able to incorporate these code drives. So it's really up to the designer to pick and choose which are the code drives. And to the second part, I think there was another part where you said about the scoring, right? Yeah. Essentially, we can score it in different ways, as to we can have a competition product and our product, and based on the code drives of both the products, right? How much, where do we position our product against the other product? In that way, we can score it. For example, if you are trying to build more of leadership or more of development and accomplishment in one of the products, and we compare with the other product, we would like to include more elements which will actually promote that kind of code drive.
Hey, thank you very much.
Sure.
I have one more question, but I'll wait till others ask. I don't want to hog all the line.
Hi, Suvrajit. This is Rekha here.
Hi, Rekha.
Hi, Sureka. So it was a nice talk. Thank you for that. I just wanted to know that if there's any continuation for this particular session that we had. Like, is there any workshop or where you can elaborate and tell us how we can implement this particular thing in the day-to-day life or in the business that we are having? Or is this is it?
Of course, there is a continuation to it, and I'm hoping that I could actually, work something out with with Institute of Inspiring Innovation, and I can actually like plan out something with them to actually have more sessions and extend it to a workshop format.
Okay. Adding to that, I mean, example, I'm just giving an example. If I'm heading a training academy, and you have given us 8 code drives that you have just mentioned in your presentation. So if you just can give us example as to how I can implement in the business that I'm doing in, or in, or in the, what do you say, day-to-day life that I'm with people, basically. So how do I implement that particular gamification? Suvrajit?
Okay. So and that's a little, like a subjective topic, I would say, because like it will really start from the way start with the end users. So how the end users behave and how what would you want them to do. But at a large level, we would like to see that, like what are the things what are the touch points, or what are the interaction points that they have in the training center, right? And then realize that what are the challenges that the users face, essentially going through the phase of design thinking, and then figuring out at different parts of the entire journey of the user, where are the frictions, and based on that we could actually use any of these core drives to overcome those frictions. So it has to be like looked at a larger from a larger perspective initially, and then drill down to that particular point where the problem area is. I hope I was able to answer your
Yes,
question.
yes. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Sir, you are not audible, sir. Sir, not able to hear you.
Arun, you have another question. Do you want to go ahead and ask?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. Can you hear me, Suvrajit?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good. So a lot of the examples you gave are what I'll call consumer or social media type of products.
Right.
Is there any study that looks at how these apply in enterprises? Let's say I'm looking at Tally or something, which is a kind of boring financial thing to do. Has there been any application of this kind of stuff in enterprise software?
Sure. I mean, I'll just give one example without actually dwelling deeper into the product. Essentially, it is to do with the US Medicaid program, where we have different providers enrolling into the system, and then we have an entire team of 50 people who are operating on this particular product or software to ensure that the provider is compliant with the system, right? Which sounds like a very serious thing, but this COVID situation has made everyone to work from home, right? So what happened is that like the loss of engagement that they had on a day-to-day basis, right, was very apparent in the productivity. It showed up in the results in the entire department. So that's when we introduced leaderboards, and in a subtle way we introduced a social wall kind of thing in the application itself, so that people who are like users who are logging into the system actually get to see what the others are doing and how the others are progressing, right? And there was easy communication facilities and chats and things like that, which enabled the users to feel that they are totally engaged even though they are working from home. So yeah, definitely, like depending on the situation, again we can break down the problem and then see where exactly the points are.
So one final question: is there a reference or a reading that you would recommend for this area?
Sure. I would say that the gamification as such has many references, but one I would definitely recommend is actionable gamification. If you go through it, So it's by Yuko Chow. It's a Chinese gentleman who has done a brilliant job in terms of coming up with the drives of gamification.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Suvrajit, I think while we are coming to close to this session, you opened up the session with this beautiful video. In fact, this Tesla car looks like, people would have aspired to take their girlfriend in this car, but then this car itself, the way it is designed, the product which is designed, and the way the gamified, looks like they'll probably miss their girlfriend, go with only the car, and are they replacing girlfriends here? So can you please play that video again, and also relate to that 8 core values drives? Among that, which are the ones which has been used here? At the same time, and where is this product design and gamification going to? In which fields? Looks like cars are also doing and replacing.
Absolutely. In fact, now after Tesla, many other car companies have actually started doing that, and probably like they may or may not be as successful as Tesla. But then the fundamental, I'm just stepping back a little bit here, but the fundamental principles of Tesla was not to build an electric car, but to build an experience, around an electric motor. So that's where the philosophy behind.
So if you could play that and then talk about among the 8 core drive, which are the ones which has been used here, that would be of help. We can relate. And looks like the car and you going to the discotheque, right? It sounds like that. So
sure. So may I open it up to the house, and maybe the house can actually pick up, probably which are the core drives they could actually relate to certain features.
Yeah, maybe you could first play the video so that everybody gets to watch it, and then ask the floor.
Yeah.
Wow, that was cool, right? So I'm sure product design and gamification is not leaving any field. Every sector, every industry, and every market, I think it has to enter. And go ahead if you want to ask people to recognize which drives have been used
Sure.
in this product design.
Yeah, and I can also participate in the same discussion, and probably because I have some context of Tesla, I might be a little I might know a little bit more. But then
Yeah.
again, many of us would actually have the same.
So wonderful. Floor, shoot out on your chat box or unmute yourself and share which are the core drive of emotion drives have been used in this particular product design and gamifying this product of Tesla car that you just saw.
Right, and I also have the chart open so that we can quickly reference this chart.
Absolutely.
Yes, accomplishment definitely. Yeah, unpredictability, curiosity, social influence, of course, empowerment, yes. Social influence, ownership, yes. All right, I think like all of us realize that they have pretty much used all the drives. So I don't know how much time I have, but I would just like to touch upon like how they are actually using these code drives.
Yeah, you have a minute to go. So
Okay,
go ahead. Have
like
a fast
so.
drive.
Okay, sure. So I would start with unpredictability and curiosity. Just to give you a background of like where this thing comes up. So like this particular incident happened on a Christmas Eve, where this gentleman who was driving this car suddenly got a Christmas gift on the big touch screen, which said that just tap on the screen Tesla icon to get some magic moments. And uh, and as soon as he tapped into this thing, this entire thing said that step out of the car to see how the car plays with you. And that's where it happens. So we might realize that this is happening on the fly. So Tesla actually patches the software on the fly. This is not something that comes hard coded with Tesla. These are the software that actually comes on the fly. So that gives them the flexibility to present the users with surprises at any point, at any moment, at any occasion. A different surprise comes to them at any moment. So empowerment, definitely, like you feel empowered that you are able to
Yeah. So, Rajit, are you there? Okay. Looks like uh, this has got gamified where at the time of 8 the whole session is being designed in a way that it has to close. So time has come, and thank you very much to all of you who have come on this webinar, and I hope you've been inspired with the 8 drives, the core drives of emotion, which is associated with product design and gamifying the product even at an enterprise level is being useful for you. I'm sure you would draw some insights, and I'm sure you're inspired. So all the very best for whatever product that you have been associated with. Apply it, and maybe make it a showcase. Let the world be inspired of your work. Best wishes. Take care. Stay safe. Bye bye for now.
Thank you.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Suvrajit actually, Naveen sir spoke and he ended the meeting.
Acha, okay.
Okay,
I
yeah.
had lost.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
I think some network issue, no? Yeah, he told that he, yeah.
All right.
We'll share you the link.
Okay,
Yeah,
sure.
thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Yeah.